So he was explaining the union of ki havai lekecha ish eich lahu. So he said in the union of ish, two inyanim being conveyed. Number one, like ish, fire, its nature is to go upwards, to tear itself away from the weak, as it were. So to the ikar of alikus, which you have to mamshech and be megala down here, is alikus, which is higher than creation. Again, not this is the ikar of alikus that olam has come from alikus. The second thing he said now is, and has to be in the three inyon, in the three avodas of Torah avodah gemilas chasodim, of shavah dibur ma'isa connected the daladola, the gimel olamis, which is the kavana to mamshech vayikra kol hanikra b'shmil v'chvedi, to mamshech this elikus where in barasi v'tzartiv afasisiv kol hanikra vayikra, meaning to summon, to call to one, calling them to you, hamshacha. And the second thing in the Eish is the thing of bittul. That Torah and mitzvah without bittul, so it's missing the whole hamshach. The gilui of alikus, the mata is missing. Oh, okay. Oh, how'd you get out? I have to put a sign that no one should use it. Where is it now? Yeah. So, okay. So okay. Here, do me a favor. I want to stop the share in the office. You'll see a piece of paper, tape, scotch tape on one of the desks, and just put on the other. Do not use elevator. It has to actually you have to make 3 copies. No, the door itself. No, on the elevator door is enough. They'll see it on the elevator door. No, people down. No, if if it's on the door, I'll see it. Okay.
By the mikveh too.
No, on the door, the actual elevator, it's going to be enough. When they press it, the elevator comes. No, they're not going to see it. The door's going to be open.
Do by the mikveh.
But it may open. He says it did open in the end. Just
put it on the mikveh.
So without the avodah of bittul, so then the gilui alikus does not happen. Other Rabbi says it's oila l'mayla, and worse than that, he brought the very Samari Chazal, where a person banishes, even actually doichik rak, the Shechinah pushes away literally. Without bittul, the Shechinah is pushed away, is rejected. He doesn't go so fast to say Moishe Chayis and Klippa, but that is sometimes brought in Chassidus that he actually adds to the concealment, to the Chayis of the Klippas in Elam Hazeh. It's not just a lack of Gilui, but an increase in Choshech, although there is such a word here. That could mean, so through Yeshes, in addition to the fact that the Eir itself by nature would not be revealed Lamata, because again, the Eibishter is not a Beirei, and that's the whole Kavanah, not a creator. It's to be Mamshech Alikus, the Emes of the Pnimis Alikus below, so that doesn't happen. But moreover, he says, he's Moisef in the Siluk, and that could be alluding to that he's actually increasing in Choshech. So now Deis Dalet, we started Deis Dalet, and that explains why that's the Kabbalah sale of Shema before Vayim Shemaya. So all of this he said in Deis Dalet was Avedis Tzadikim. But Mi Shechota upogam v'avras haderech, someone blemished, sinned, blemished, and transgressed, and he's missing the 3 kavin. So there can't be Yamshacha because he doesn't have the kavin to be mamshich. So the tikkun is tshuva. So tshuva he brought from the Rambam. About tshuva, the Bali tshuva stand, then tzaddikim and gemurim cannot stand there. It never occurred to me, just interesting why b'makom is lashon yachid, but Bali tshuva and tzaddikim is lashon rabbi. One that's b'makom is bal tshuva imid. Ain't tzaddik gomoya. I don't know. It's interesting if there's any hasbir chassidus for that. At any rate, so the shaila is why the bal tshuva is a higher madrege. You can understand his becheli yatir, his avodas with greater koyach, because since he's far from alikus, even the tzaddik is yesh mishayev, there's still the someone. He's also berichuk, so he's got to work to be close. But tshuva, the chet, made him even further distant. Therefore, needs greater effort to draw close. But why does he draw closer? So for Yuvan's, that's a rab. 3 lines from, I don't know what texture, but 3 lines from the bottom of Kuf Lamed Tes, if you have a photocopy. Dalet. In the middle. Yuvan's in Mashim Tzini, but Rabbi Loza Bar the Daya, the big sinner, should go up here when the Zoyner then told him that no one's going to accept you. Your tshuva. So he cried out. God is a strong expression, is coming from the depth, a wail. And he died. The Gemara continues, Rabbi cried, there are those that acquire the world through the toil of many years, and there are those, and there's one rather, who acquires his world in one moment, referring to, now we call him Rabbi, about to die with the Rabbi. And so the shaila is not tinach, it's where I can understand. Tinach means it sits well. Fine, he did a tremendous tshuva. So he's atoned. He did tshuva. So he was atoned, and he's become nisratz, he's become reconciled with Hashem. The Rambam writes in Hilchos Tshuva as follows: greatest tshuva that draws near a person to the Shekhinah, and he goes on to say that yesterday he was distant and despicable and repulsive, and today through tshuva he's oho. Rebbe doesn't want to quote that part; he just quotes the happy ending. Ohov, he's a beloved, v'nechmad, and desired, kodev, near, v'yedid, and a friend of Hashem. Good, so we understand that he's forgiven and he's close. What does it mean he acquires his world? In him moving. It's not understood. How could he have the amshacha? That he should acquire his world. What's the world? The world is what I'll gimel dvarim meilim moimed. His world and the world at large stands on the Avodah. The 3 pillars of Torah, which we said before, he didn't do it. He was missing in whatever area. He didn't build his world. How's he acquiring it? Forgiven, yes. Close, yes. Reconciled, everything we can understand and is wonderful. But his world, he doesn't have a world. Based in the explanation, the question we just asked now, what does it mean that through tshuva he acquires his world? And the question we asked before this, which is, how is it the Magia Eidiya Simanas Tzadikim, who, the answer is, the explanation is, Because through tshuva, and he means here again, the tshuva yilah, not tshuva tata. Tshuva tata is a behavioral thing. Tshuva yilah is from a pnimis hanefesh, like Rabbi is about to die, go, b'pchiyah, he wailed. So this is mamshich in Mokim Meldian Yosef because it comes from pnimis hanefesh. Behind the Mokim Shahir by Pagam Kalal, he is mamshich from a level that he never blemished, that can't be blemished. He goes on to explain in his Boyle Yev, he explained before, the 3 Amudim are the vessels, to draw down a likus, which is higher than creation and is likened to fire. We said before in the previous us, and when we blemish, there's no keli. Now here actually he says, blemish means there's a keli, but it's blemished. It's missing the bittel. In its truva. So the oil departs. It's not nimshach. And like it says in Zohar, and when you depart from the kelim, so they remain like bodies without souls. No giluyim. That's what's affected through the pagam in Torah mitzvahs. Again, it doesn't say there isn't. It's blemished. Certainly if there isn't. So the eish, the oil that he has to be mamshich is not drawn down. So what eish are we talking about? The eish hagoli. But then there's a higher madreg in the oil, which is concealed from the giloi, concealed in the virtuous sense, higher than giloi. It's like the flame in a glowing coal. And even a deeper level of oil. Like the fire that's in a stone that when struck produces a spark. So there's fire, but it's not manifested at all as fire, but it produces fire. So this is mamish the pnimius of atmas insof, higher than manifested gilui. And that's where tshuva reaches right there. Tshuva mamshichim b'chinas atzur. So tshuva draws on the rock literally. Sheb'chinas zu lohoya pagam klal, that no chet can affect it. There is no blemish there. And just like shebegashmis neitzor seish matzur ediakod dafke, and just like begashmis, how is the fire? How is the spark produced by the rock? By striking it. To get fire to manifest, to come out from a glowing coal, must become the fich. It's enough to blow it. However, that's also an aveda to blow. But that is if the fire is not so concealed. But to get the fire, the spark from the rock, it's only through striking it. So likewise, tshuva has to be with tremendous koyach. To be very embittered. Is distance from alikus. And that's the hakor, that's the striking. And this draws the fire from the rock. And that answers our questions. That's the reason Shabbat Tshuva, he acquires his world. Because the question was, he's blemished it. The answer is he did. But he's mamshich from a level where there's no pagam. It's also higher than time. And so therefore he's mamshich ilomah. And that and why explains too why he stands higher than the Tzadik Gomer, since it's a very lofty level, higher than the Eish Hagoloi, which is the avodas tzaddikim, lachein magiel l'mayim avodas tzaddikim, therefore his avodah is high. Clear? The connection now to yesterday's chitas. Yesterday's chumash. Zeh gam ki masha kosev. So Moishe Rabbeinu said today, we should show me your glory. He saw Zeis Rotzen. So the Eibishter told him, there's a place with me. And it shall be when my glory passes by this place. I'll place you in the cleft of the rock. And there you'll see me. At least the hinder part. And the pasuk goes on to say, and Hashem passed, as it were, Vayikra, and he called out, Moishe called out, you give me the Sarachme. So all of this, what is happening? Moishe wanted which is hiding in Shtalshalos. This is the tzur, in order to effect the kapara for the Chet HaEgel. So the akdama to that was, the prerequisite was, Hashem says, Omar in Yemoke meeting, say the place is with me, and I'm place you in the cleft of the rock, of the cave. What does that have to do with the Hamshach? What's the Hamshach Yonim here? Why is that a prerequisite to the Hamshach of Vayavra, Vayalpona, Vayikra? And he called out his Mamshech, you'd give him the Sarachim. Answer Achinyin who sinning the golden calf, which is a very serious sin. But not only kapara to forgive them. The Eibishter said to him initially, right, that I'm not going to walk amongst you, but I'll send my angel. And Moishe Rabbeinu pleaded and said, no, we want you, panecha helchim, the pnimis evolikos. So again, not just as the Rambam described before, that through tshuva the Yid is forgiven, and he's okay. It's not enough. It has to be the amshocha panecha from the place of the tzur, the pnimius, where there's no pagam higher than where the chet had affected. In the amshocha zu, hutzachelis, b'chinas hatzur dafke. That's what Eibishter told him. I'll place you in the cleft of the tzur. This is the avodah of tshuva sheb'chinas zu lo hiya pagam. The level of the tzur, the level of alikus, which is higher than gilui. At the gilui level of alikus, we violated it. That level, Hashem is saying, reveal me. You didn't reveal me. On the contrary, you blemished me. But the level of the tzur is the level higher than gilui alikus, the Eibishter himself, as it were. So this is what Eibishter is placing him, and hence he's mamshech to give him midas harachim. Some further beer in the Avodah, yeah. Shapir sur kipshuto iloshen chayzik. The simple meaning of tzur means also something rock. Ein sur kilikenu. Did I say loshen rock? Strong, chayzik. Rock and roll. Rock that it can't be penetrated, impregnable. Shebeklolus ina gvuras. What's the meaning of chayzik is gvura. Gvura means power. Gvura. We want here the rachamim. We want here chesed. What's gvura? Achein akavana kalina gvuras vadinim. We don't mean here gvura and dinim and hidden being judged and so on. On the contrary. Here we're talking about you're giving me the sarachim in very powerful chesed, bligvul chesed. So why is it called? Why is it associated with the rock with something which is strong and hard and gvura? The kavan is that the chayes be very intense. It's hamshach of chesed, but an intense hamshach of chesed. As he goes on to explain, the Gvura in the Chesed, when Gvura is part of Chesed, not an opposing midah, which Bechatzonius it is, but Gvura as it is in Chesed, what does it pale? It pales the Teisvus Chayis in the Amshach. But Prati says in a greater detail that Rabbi explains now. Teisvus Amshach. When Gvura comes to bear in the Amshach of Chesed, so there's 3 miles, 3 inyanim over ordinary Chesed, over ordinary Amshach, and they are Inyan or Aleph Shimtzad Gvura is Bashba Bezrizus. When Gvura, which is intense, so the Ashpa comes Bezrizus, which means without delay, with alacrity. Can't wait a moment to be in such a matzav. Inyan Abeis, a second tremendous mile is that when the Amshach is in the way of Gvura, Shemitzat HaGvura is miskabeles hashpala eitam kabel bepnimis. Since the nature of Gvura is containment, it means that this awesome Amshacha is drawn and received by the makabel bepnimis. In other words, what he's saying is that when you have Chesed and Gvura in tandem, and the Gevura itself is integral to the Amshach of Chesed, that's with Keicha Atzmus. Because Be'emes, they're opposites externally. Gevura says, don't give, Gemarno. Gevura says, don't give, so the person has to earn it. Let him come up here and get it. And fix everything that was broken. But Mitzad Atzmus, they're one thing. It's all the Eibishter. Gvul and Bli Gvul are all one. The Sherish of Gvura is Keicha Gvul, and the Sherish of Chesed is Keicha Bli Gvul. So they fuse and become one, and therefore the Bli Gvul, which is what we want here, the Gimel Sarachmim, is drawn in the Pnimius. The Keicha Atzmos, Bli Gvul, the infinite, can be experienced even by finitude, the Pnimius. Follow? So this is the Gvaldik Gemeiled. On the one hand, it's a Hamshach of Adebish's Bli Gvul Chesed, but it's more than Bli Gvul. It's Atzmizdike Chesed is what he's saying. And therefore, it's Nimshach even in the Pnimius, within the person. It's a penetrating cleansing. And the third thing, in a Gimel, which we said Gvura is Ba'ashpa bischalkos v'riboy. The Ashpa comes with bischalkos, literally divided v'riboy in a great number. So it's not just one Amshach, it's many, as it were. You now illustrate. Okay, do the Moishe, and it's known the illustrations to illustrate this. The mile of what? Of Gvura, The mile of in Gvura as it's in Chesed, part of Hashpa. So what is it? The difference between chayis and wild animals, the behemoths, to domestic cattle. Where do you see alacrity and energy and quickness? It's dafka by the chayis. And even though the behemoth is stronger. There are many harvests in the power of the ox. Another Gemara, it says that a person should always learn Torah, like an ox accepts the yoke, or like the donkey, the load. So very useful and can carry great weight and produce great harvest. But Zerizus is not there. There's Chesed, there's Ashpa, but not Bezerizus, not swiftly and intensely. It's dafke in the chayis. What's the word for a chayis? It's supposed to cattle, no? Wild. It means the wild animal.
Non-domesticated animals.
Okay. non-domesticated. So there, the chayis is greater. Mitzad ha'gvura shebem, why mitzad ha'gvura? And we see that they're more aggressive. If the ox is agitated, if you agitate him, watch out. But otherwise, he's a placid fellow, happy to eat his grass. And likewise the donkey. But the chay is a beteva gvura. Now another motion. This is interesting motion. When you speak to your fellow, it's possible that the person in Yiddish hold their head and get what you're saying. Obviously, he physically hears. When you talk to somebody, they hear you. The question is, do they get you? You raise the voice, you're saying the same words, but you say with more intensity. So, and the person who's speaking is speaking from the pnimius of his nefesh. As it is kabel ashba, then the person listens much more readily. As v'adenem b'pnimis. That doesn't mean that shouting. Shouting. It's not talking about shouting here, which actually does the opposite. The other person shuts off. He's just talking about when the voice is animated with intensity, and the listener listens in a different way. Words from the heart enter the heart. And a third moshel. So that's a second moshel of the gevura that he speaks with. The oisias, they come from gevura. It's all words. Likewise, you find rain. Rain is called gevuras geshamim. So this asks the question: Geshem is chesed. Why do we refer to it as gevuras geshamim shminesser? Right? What's the lashon? Huh? What gevura there? Shminesser, no? Yeah, not a gibber. There we mentioned Geshem. The Gemara calls it Gevuras Geshamim. Why? Because stam water is taka what? Chesed. But rain that comes in drops, Shemei Akshamim may be Schalkos, the water comes, be Schalkos. The whole tippa, Yeshna Gumam Yechedes, and each rain has in the cloud a special source. The Gemara says if 2 drops would issue from the same source in the cloud, the world will be destroyed. The Gemara says. So each drop has to come from its own source. Whatever the beer there is. So that's the of Gevura, that each individual droplet, which allows the rain to come to Pnimius and to be absorbed, not flood the world, but be absorbed by the world and produce the life. So Shorosh and Naila B'Yosef, that's much higher than Stam Chesed. V'lachein, Mafteach Shel Kshomim, the key to rain, Nimtza Leila Leila, only the Eibishter has. He didn't give up to anybody. He says 3 keys: rain, birth, and Tchias HaMesim. Only the Eibishter himself. Again, that's what? That's Gevuras Geshamim. That's Gevura in Chesed, together as one, which is an Inyan Atzmi. These 2 fuse and become one, bli gvul and gvul, giving and holding back. Okay, to be continued tomorrow, today's story. Mezer Hashem.